Hey folks, it's Josh Reeves here with you. This is the 17th of February 2016 and wanted to give you our weekly update video here. I've been trying to do regular updates and give you guys a status and let you guys know what's going on here regularly, since we are not doing the regular radio show right now as I'm working on the films. And I very much appreciate everybody out there continuing to be patient as I work through the process of making these films. It's quite the challenge when you're a one-man operation, a one-man show like me, and all the work falls on my shoulders. People who make other films and documentaries and stuff, they have teams and teams of people who work on these things and who handle all the aspects, but with me it's just me that does all of it. From the sound editing to the film editing to the research, to gathering all of the literally hundreds of thousands of photographs that go into each one of these films as well. And so it's quite the challenge. And, I learned my lesson because I really, in my first, 3 films, I guess, I really rushed those things out the door and didn't take the time to do them in the way they should have been done. And that's not to say they're bad films. I mean, the information in them is good, but I just didn't take the time to do them the way I should have. So I learned my lesson. That's why when the Lost Secrets of Ancient America Volume 1, I took the time to get that film out and do it right. And that's what I'm continuing to do with this one. We are getting close. My goal was to have it done by the end of this week. I am getting closer to that goal, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually necessarily have it completely done by the end of this week, just because there's also so many other different things that come into play in this when you're making one of these films, and I always forget about a lot of the other elements. I mean, I'll probably have it all, pretty much edited and whatnot by the end of the week, but then that's, once that's done, that's not all there is left to do. Then you still have to do intros and titles and credits and music as well. So it is looking good, though. I think we are going to be able to have it 100% out by not the end of this week, but definitely by the end of the month. We will have it out and done. But also have to go, once it's done too, I like to go back through and watch it a few times on my own and take it and play it on different screens and stuff, just to make sure everything is, on the up and up. Because sometimes you can make a film and it'll look, it looks fantastic, or it looks right on your video editor or on your computer or whatever, and then once you put it to a disc or put it on a screen or whatever, some things can change and some things don't look right. And I notice that kind of happens in some of the mini films and whatnot that I've done, but so I just want to make sure everything is right. If you're a new fan of my work and you haven't been aware of my work for very long, I'm not just like a new jack or a new guy on the scene. I've actually been researching this stuff, pretty much my whole life. I mean, I started researching UFOs and the Bermuda Triangle and paranormal stuff when I was in like 3rd or 4th grade. And I've gone nonstop since then, but I've been doing radio now for 9 years. And I've put out 6 full-length films or 5. This will be my 6th. Spellcasters Volume 1 will be number 6, and then we'll do Spellcasters number 2 after that, which will be number 7. And then we've got Lost Secrets of Ancient America Volume 3, which is about 50 or 60% done at this point. And so that'll be number 8. So I put out the first film in 2007. So yeah, in 9 years, I put out, this will be my 6th film, and then we've got 2 more that are in the can that'll be coming out through the course of 2016 into 2017. And then I've got more ideas and more stuff that I want to work on after that that's going to be amazing. I don't want to tell you about yet because, well, frankly, I've made the mistake in the past of letting stuff out of the bag too early, and it never goes well. So I'm going to keep some of the other stuff I've got under wraps until then. But if you're new to my work, yeah, I'm not just some guy on the scene, and also I'm not some guy who just makes YouTube videos and puts them up. It's tough because I've been doing this longer than there's been sort of a thing where people made YouTube videos about these kind of topics and put them up. I've been doing it longer than that, so I like to let people know that sometimes because it's easy to get lost in the shuffle and lost in the mix of all the other stuff that gets put out there. So, like a film like the Spellcasters, that's not something you're going to see on YouTube. That's not something I'll be uploading and putting on YouTube. My full-length films are up to download, and they're on Blu-ray and DVD. And but I also make mini films in the interim that I put up on YouTube. And those are usually stuff that I feel has to come out right now and has to be almost instantaneous. A lot of stuff I can say for the full-length films, and I love the full-length films because I feel like I get to sort of flesh things out a lot more, and all this has been a learning process for me. I mean, I first got getting interested in wanting to make films of some kind back in the year 2000, and that's when I first started studying it and whatnot. And it took me until 2007 for me to, just make my first documentary, because I think, like a lot of people, when you've never done something before, you don't know how to get started doing it. And really, there's no other way to do it than to just do it. And so my films have definitely been an evolution as far as learning the craft and getting better at it. And that's one thing that I'm most proud of, I think, when I look at my films and I look at what I've done so far, is they continually get better and better and better with each successive one, because I get better at it and I learn more. Every time I make a film, even if it's a mini film, I learn something, that I didn't know before. And it's also tough because everybody out there likes such different stuff. And if you try to play the game of making everybody happy, the old saying of you can please some of the people some of the time, all that, well, you're fighting a losing battle if you're trying to do that, because everybody has such varied taste. Everybody likes different things. And so some of my audience, they love the longer films. They love, like Lost Secrets Volume 1, which is, I think, 3 hours and 40 minutes or something ridiculous like that. And other people who like my work prefer the shorter films. So that's one of the big questions I always get when a film is coming out. Everybody wants to know, well, how long is it going to be? How long is it going to be? How long is this one going to be? And the truth is, I never know till it's done. So for those of you who've been asking, how long is the Spellcasters going to be? Well, I frankly, I just don't know at this point. Truthfully, it's a lot more difficult to make a shorter film than it is to make a longer film. And when I tell that to people, they don't get it. They don't understand why. They say, well, that doesn't make any sense. If it's shorter, it should take you a shorter amount of time to do. Well, no, that's not the case. It's much easier to make a longer film because then you're not having to, edit yourself or cut anything out. You just throw everything in the kitchen sink and you're done with it. But that's not always the best course of action. So I've really tried to find a balance between those two things. And I've had to rewrite this film 5 or 6 times because just stuff you always find out. I'm really, really a stickler for the accuracy of the info, and I like to get things as accurate as I can. And with this film, there's so many discrepancies in timelines and when things actually happened, especially concerning a lot of the Scientology stuff and whatnot. There's so many different erroneous sources and things where, one source states one claim or one date, another, and I've had to go back and change a lot of that. And also there was a lot of stuff in there that I originally wrote in the original treatment and the writing for it that I've kind of went back in hindsight and said, well, maybe all that doesn't need to be in there. So it's, you know, it's a process of making sure that the film is, I don't want to make a film that people get bored with before it's over. You know, I mean, with Lost Secrets of Ancient America, most people that watch that film have to break it up into parts and, you know, watch some of it a little bit here, a little bit there, and so I've really tried to be a little bit more deliberate about the pacing of the films, because I want people to be able to watch these films, and I like to have them to have replay value as well. That's another reason why I jam so much info in there, is so that, you know, you can watch it multiple times. My films are all meant to be watched multiple times. And really, almost all films are. I find that I go back and watch stuff that I haven't watched in, you know, years, and I go back and watch it, and because, you know, you just, as a natural progression in life, you learn more and you understand more. Your understanding grows every day, and your learning grows every day. So maybe things that didn't make a lot of sense to you on the first go-round sometimes can make more sense when you go back through them, because you've learned more since then. And that's something I've definitely always tried to incorporate within my films, is them to have the ability, you know, for you to be able to have replay value and go back and watch them again. And I encourage that with all my films. I encourage you to go back and watch the Secret Right films, especially Secret Right Volume 2, which has a lot of stuff that is definitely going to tie in with things that I've found in the Spellcasters research. But the Secret Messages films that I've recently put out, Secret Messages Volume 1, or Part 1 and Part 2, which are up on YouTube, we also just recently, in the past few days, have put up a complete version of that with both parts edited together in our download shop, our Global Reality download shop at theglobalreality.com, which is my website. You can also just type Josh Reeves into a search engine. My website's the first one that comes up there. And but we've got the film edited into one complete hour and 14-minute film. It's up in our download shop for just $8. And it's in HD and looks really good. The versions of those films that I put up on YouTube are just standard definition. So if you want to see it in HD and want to be able to blow it up on your screen or play it through your TV box or whatever, and show it to friends and family, that's available now, as well as tons of other stuff there in our download shop. All my other films are there as well, all remastered. And if you've seen a lot of my older films and you've seen some of the YouTube versions are crap, and they're not really worth watching. So definitely go check out our download shop and get yourself some downloads of my older films there as well. And we also have a lot of audio books and stuff. We've got a collection in there that's taken from radio shows I did between 2007 and 2014. It's like 50 hours worth of audio that someone compiled for us painstakingly. And you know, I'll have a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I didn't hear this show, or I didn't hear that show," and there's a lot of good info in there, so you can get that. We also have a pack that has all of my full-length films up to Lost Secrets of Ancient America Volume 2 in a little bit smaller file size than what they come in individually. And you can get that whole pack for $35 up there in our download shop as well. So again, if you're new to my work and you've just recently found my work through the Secret Messages series, because these have been getting a crazy amount of views. Remember, I checked the views Saturday night, and we were about to crack 4,000, and then yesterday we cracked 12,000. So, and that's for Part 2. So it's been going crazy. The response has been amazing. But yeah, in those films, I really tried to be a little bit more deliberate in the pacing and slow it down a little bit and kind of make sure that, you know, people are grasping a lot of this stuff, because it's easy to get lost in the shuffle of all this stuff, and easy to lose your place and not really know where you're at as far as how all this stuff connects together. And this Spellcasters film is about much more than just, even though it's, the premise of it is who controls Hollywood, it's about much, much more than that. really about much more than that. Hollywood is really just a one of the main tools for a much larger mass mind control operation, and I'm really breaking down all the elements of that and showing you really how nefarious and evil it is, and then also tying it into, of course, Scientology, JFK, and then even, you know, with some of the stuff you've seen in the little trailer that we put out a few months ago, even connections to things like, you know, the so-called truth movement, phony truth movement, Alex Jones, and many other characters that have connections back to these groups like Scientology and whatnot. We're delving into all this in this film. I really feel like it's a kind of a culmination of a lot of stuff that I've done just since I started. So I'm definitely excited for you all to see the film, and as I said in the previous video, there's been a lot going on behind the scenes with this. And I haven't wanted to talk too much about it yet because, first off, let me say this. Those of you who've watched my stuff for years and know me, and those of you who may be new to my work may or may not know this about me, but one of the things about me that sets me apart from a lot of other people is I flat refuse to engage in fear-mongering. I refuse to engage in paranoia. And granted, it is good to have a little bit of paranoia, but as anything in life, it's got to always be about balance. Too much in one way and not enough in the other, or too much to one side is where you start to run into problems. And frankly, I get tired of people, not just people like Alex Jones and many others, but I really get tired of hearing people constantly talking about how, you know, people are out to get them, and sort of using that as a, I don't know what the word is, a crutch, or using it as a device, I guess, to lend some sort of fake credibility to their work, you know, or to the information they put out. Oh, see, you know, oh, we must be really putting out the truth because they're trying to sabotage us and get us, and, you know, that's why you should support us and not support Josh Reeves or this guy over here or whoever, because, oh, we're the ones putting out the truth because they're, you know, they're trying to get us. And I don't play that game. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, there is more of that goes on and has gone on than I've ever talked about. And I refuse to try and use that as leverage and stuff. But, you know, that's one of the reasons why I have to constantly tell you to support our work and make donations and stuff, because there is a lot more going on, and there has been a lot more that's gone on behind the scenes with all that stuff than I've told you about. And that's, you know, again, that's been the biggest issue with this film is, I mean, usually I have a budget to work on with films, but we've had no budget. This has been like straight up a hill trying to make this movie. And when I'm not on air doing my regular radio shows and stuff, we don't get the financial support that we need to continue and whatnot. And it's been really bad as of late. A lot of our stuff is, I mean, we're just on the brink of completely going under constantly. And again, I've not got up here and said, oh, they're sabotaging our YouTube views, or they're, you know, whatever. I'm not going to mention some of the other stuff that's happened quite yet. I want to wait till the film's done again, like I said last week. But it's been tough. It's just a fact of the matter. But again, I don't like. It makes me feel like, even though it's true, it just makes me feel like a cheap whore to tell you some of the things that have gone on, because I don't want to I don't want to give those fuckers any power. That's really the number one thing, because they're not going to stop me. The fact of the matter is that people like yourself out there enjoy my work. I wouldn't still be here if they didn't. People want me to continue. They want to see what I'm going to do next and what I'm going to put out next. And frankly, that's why I do it. Besides, the obvious stuff of there's so much that needs to be exposed and so much that needs to be put out. And there's so few people actually doing it in a way that is that's honest, in a way that doesn't have a predisposed agenda to it. I don't have, as I've told you many times, but again, we have so many new people that come in all the time, and maybe you don't know this about me, but I don't have a personal agenda with all this. I'm not one of these Christian zealot guys that's trying to use this information to back up my beliefs on, the book of Revelations and the end of the world. I'm not one of those. I'm not one of these people who is trying to, because I don't believe in two-party politics and the political system, so I'm not a left-winger or a right-winger or any of that crap. I don't get into divide and conquer politics, because unlike most people out there, I've actually done my homework. I mean, going back to my Secret Right films, I learned when I made the Secret Right films that, because I was delving trying to find out who was controlling all these groups, and then I started learning about like the Royal Institute of International Affairs and the Fabian Society and whatnot, and these groups that are controlled by the Central European banks that control all these think tanks in the United States, be it the Council for National Policy, like I talked about in the Secret Right, or the Council on Foreign Relations. These groups like the Royal Institute of International Affairs and the Fabian Society and all this stuff, they own all of these groups left or right. And that's where the majority of their fundings come from. So they control all sides of the political spectrum. So I don't have any sort of political or religious agenda or any kind of agenda at all in my work to try and convince you why I'm right and why you should believe what I say. That's why and that frustrates people, because people want you to constantly reinforce and back up whatever their own particular belief system is. That's not something I do. That's not something I will ever do. Because that's up to you. That's where free thought and free thinking and free understanding come into play, and that's what I'm about. So, I've gotten all these people lived all these comments on a lot of the secret messages stuff. Well, this, that, and the other, but this all just proves that the Antichrist is coming, or well, this is good and stuff, but this just proves that Jesus is the way, or well, this is all good, but this just proves that it's Illuminati this and Illuminati that. And again, if you want to believe those things, if you want to come to those conclusions, that's your business. But coming down on me or making comments about me because I don't choose to reinforce a predetermined mindset on this stuff, that's on you. That's not on me. Because I don't have an agenda for you to believe anything towards a particular way. My job is to take information and the truth and get it to you in the most unwatered down fashion that I can. That's why I'm raw and I'm rough and I cuss and I don't give a shit, because it's all about the real to me. That's what I've always been about. And the problem with a lot of people who try to put out this information, and I get lumped into with these people, that's why I have to address it. Because I get lumped in with these people who have an agenda, to prove their point. So many, I really came across that so much when I was making the Lost Secrets films. There's so many people that are into the type of information that I discussed in the Lost Secrets of Ancient America films, and a lot of them either have agendas to, back up their beliefs on, the Aryan master race, or to back up their, they're only interested in giants because they think it backs up their biblical beliefs and all this stuff. And the fact of the matter is, you don't need any of that for the information to have importance. It's not necessary. It's not even needed. But that's where you have these people who, and watch out for this. You'll see it. You know, I know a lot of you have probably already noticed it and have noticed it. But if you haven't, when you watch my films and you watch the way that I present the information to you, and then you go and watch other people's YouTube videos or whatever, watch. And I guarantee you, now that you've heard me say it, you'll notice it more and more. And you'll notice that the majority of people out there that make videos and stuff, they don't have an interest in getting information to you in order to empower you and to allow you to come to realizations about this stuff on your own and come to your own conclusions. They only are presenting this stuff to you from a very fear-based standpoint, from a standpoint of, oh my God, the Satan and devil and Luciferians are coming to eat us and get us, and oh. And they all seem to have some very fear-based starting point that they're coming from with this stuff. And I just refuse to do that. But again, as I said, that's not to say that I haven't, been on the receiving end of harassment and attempted sabotage of my work and various other things through the years. I absolutely have. But I don't get up here and platform on it and make it my bloody pulpit, because the fact of the matter is, I knew what I was getting into when I got into this stuff. So, you have to expect a certain degree of it. And it's, it's not something that happens all the time, but it does happen. But I don't get up here and tell you that constantly and use that as sort of leverage as to why you should watch my films or my videos or, listen to what I say or believe what I say more than anybody else. But my stuff is researched out impeccably, and so much time goes into the research and the vetting of the information, so that when I present this stuff to you, I feel that I'm giving you the best possible presentation I can on the facts. And that's what I'm going to continue to do here with all this stuff. One of our viewers had a question about, and I don't have all the stuff in front of me now to answer this question, but I will do it in the next video. Let me find Mr. Hydro guy on our last video had some comments, and I will address your comments, sir, in the next video that I do. This is kind of a separate video, but I will do another one and another update and answer your questions there. Again, we just got to have your support, folks. And I like I said, I could easily have been up here for months and months now telling you what's been happening, what's been going on, and the attempts that have been made to keep this work from coming out. I mean, I'm just not going to do that. I can't, like I used to hear Alex Jones, he'd get on there, folks, they're sabotaging our YouTube videos, folks. Spam the MySpace and spam the Facebook. They're trying to shut us down, folks. We have a bigger effect than anybody else, folks. Our New World Order is trying to stop us. And, you could see what that is. And I am not going to be that. I'm not going to fucking get up here every day and try to use the fact that these fuckers want to stop us. I mean, they want to stop everybody. They want to stop the truth in general. It's not about Josh Reeves or Alex Jones or any other individual person. But people try to, make it about them. But, when stuff happens that is directly directed at you personally, and some stuff has been directed at me personally, and sabotage and all the rest of this stuff, and trying to keep us from getting the financial support that we need, I do feel the need to tell you about it. But, again, I'm not going to platform on it. But anyway, if you're new to my work, everything that we do here is funded by viewers, listeners, and people who support my work. I don't have outside funding. I don't have funding from big think tanks and huge sponsors and all this stuff. But I put out, this will be our 6th film in 9 years. We've done thousands of radio shows and and I've done dozens and dozens of interviews. That's the thing, is once a film is done too, the work is really just beginning, because once the film is done, then I've got to promote it and do interviews and all the rest of that stuff, and that's where you guys help really comes in. I'm going to need you guys to, email the radio shows and whatnot and request that I be on interview, because it works. You guys have done it in the past, and it's got me on shows like Coast to Coast AM and others, all because you guys have emailed them and said, hey, you guys need to have Josh Reeves on and interview him for this film. So I hope that you guys will do that for this one as well. My website's theglobalreality.com. We have our donate button there. At our website, we also have our monthly operating cost banner. Please go there and make a contribution, because as I said, we've been off air. We've been trying to get this film done, and we're running on fumes. And even if it's $10, $20, or $100, $500, $1,000, whatever it is you can spare, just please go to my website and make a contribution. And you can also hit up our download shop and get films and audiobooks and whatnot there. And you can also pre-order your DVD, Blu-ray, and downloads of the Spellcasters. And we are getting very much closer to this film being out. So please be patient, and it's going to be in your hands and on your screens very soon. All right, you guys take care. We'll talk again real soon. Josh Reeves, signing off.